What are the Rams going to do in this year's NFL draft? What's going to happen in the Super Bowl? And let's take a look at the NFC West and the Arizona Cardinals and their misery. This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage.
Headline, Los Angeles.
I had to work in my Healy there. I'm Joe Terosian, and live from the Ram Cave, this is RamView, the February 6, 2023 edition. I'm feeling out of sorts today because I got noise all around me, and it's driving me crazy. But this edition of RamView FanView is brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. At Kistler Law, they do it all in personal injury. Check out KistlerLawFirm.com. They've been fighting for you since '92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. Well, it is that time of year. I did talk about this being silly season. I haven't seen any great news break where, we're all racist, we're all evil people. And so that's good news. And now we're only, 6 days away from the Super Bowl, and then 6 days away from the offseason truly beginning. And so it's exciting. And the Rams have 6 draft picks of their own. Believe it or not, they have draft picks, right? And they also have 4 compensation picks, compensatory picks for the free agents they've lost in years past, which are going to be officially awarded to them in March. That's where it usually comes in. So the Rams are going to have 10 draft picks. And so the cupboard is not bare. And if you hit on your draft picks like the Seahawks did last year, all these picks that were not in the first round that they hit on, you find that, you can make a difference. You can make a turnaround. The Seahawks were very much a surprise last year, and it was because of guys like Kenneth Walker, not first round, Tariq Woolen, not first round, Kobe Bryant, not first round, among others that they hit the mark with. So as Ram fans, you need to be as smart as your team and not just reach for the quote unquote low-hanging fruit of just, we need this and less need sucks. No, you guys got a Super Bowl. You've got 2 Super Bowl appearances in the last 5 years. And a lot of that is because of what the Rams generally do at Senior Bowl. And I learned this, was it 2 years ago? I had never put the pieces together. I'm a Ram fan, 21 years as a sports writer. I had never put the pieces together, but the guy who used to host Locked On Rams, Sosa Kremenjas, who was by far of all the Locked On listener people I've had, whether they're doing Rams or others, Sosa Kremenjas always just came in and brought you something new every day. And he's gone on to bigger and better things. But if you get a chance to click on or follow Sosa on Twitter or something, check him out. But he was the one that put me on to keep an eye on the Senior Bowl. And the Rams did exceptional work at the Senior Bowl. And I think Rams Wire last week or someplace in there or one of the other sites posted something about the work the Rams have done at the Senior Bowl in the past. And that's something to always keep an eye on as we build more and more into the draft season, which is really exciting, right? I pushed for tight ends, and I took a lot of pushback on taking a tight end. A couple of smart guys confirmed that for me, that the Rams should be looking at a tight end. So the 30 or 40 jabs I took about being an idiot made me feel good because I respect the guys that complimented me on saying a tight end. But this is a deep tight end draft, as some RamView followers have said. Notre Dame's Mike Mayer, Oregon State's Luke Musgrave, Utah's Dalton Kincaid, and there's another guy that was a backup at Georgia, he behind Bowers, Darnell Washington, 6'7", 265, projects a little more as a project going forward. But there's a lot of depth in the tight end class, and the Rams are going to need a tight end. We talked about this. Tyler Higbee, pushing 30, his body's breaking down, and he makes a little too much money. So out you go, right? That's the nature of the beast, and we should think of it that way. That's the nature. That's football. We allow them to have a salary cap. The teams want a salary cap. I get that. You want revenue sharing, and then you got a salary cap. So there's a lot of things you have to deal with. You just don't get to keep your favorite players anymore, and you can't be emotional about them. You can't be. They got to go. And Right now, Tyler Higbee seems first that he should go as the Rams need to rebuild at tight end. You got Bryson Hopkins, but you need some depth behind him and stuff. So what I did was I did my first mock draft simulator. I'm not posting it because I just wanted to see who was left to me at 36. What was going to be left to me and suggested to me as a Rams fan, who should I take? Because I was going to be a D lineman, edge. What was going to be in the mock draft simulator left for me to take at 36? And the name that popped up was Dalton Kincaid, the third rated tight end out of Utah. And he's the guy. You're not going to get Mayer, and I don't think you're going to get Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State. But Dalton Kincaid was the name that came up. And so there is a possibility here, folks. I'm not just pulling things out of the air trying to create controversy. Of course, the other things the Rams needed, and there are other mock drafts that were posted from ESPN, DraftWire, Pro Football Network, 33rd Team, The Athletic, all those things. They did have draft projections for the Rams in the second round. A lot of edge players, LSU edge BJ Ojulari, a couple of sites had him. Kansas State edge Felix Anudike, they had him. Georgia's Nolan Smith, I think RamsWire actually had him. And that's interesting because Georgia, can't go wrong with Georgia these days, right? There was a cornerback, Clark Phillips III out of Utah, that was listed as a possible potential draft pick for the Rams. And all those are the things we talked about. Edge, tight end, corner. These things are important. The one projected offensive lineman, there's two actually. There were two projected offensive linemen. One is a guard tackle out of North Dakota State named Cody Mock, who people really like. And again, if he's great, okay. But if I can get him at 69, I'll take him at 69. I think the Rams have some talent on the offensive line. It just needs to get healthy. But Cody Mock, no relation to Gene, I think, is projected as a guard tackle, likely a guard in the NFL out of North Dakota State, but it's North Dakota State. We want to see how that one plays out, right? Also, another name being pushed is a center named Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota. You go to Minnesota, you go to Wisconsin, you go to Michigan for offensive linemen, you generally get solid NFL players. I'm not saying you're getting Creed Humphrey, but you do get solid NFL players. And this was one of the things that was projected, that if Schmitz was available, would the Rams draft him? And Brian Allen was injured a lot this year, but Brian Allen gave us a Pro Bowl season in 2021. But they could cut him and save a lot of money if they drafted somebody like Schmitz. But that's on the assumption that Schmitz is ready to play. If Brian Allen is healthy, Brian Allen can play. Brian Allen is still in the early part of his career. He was drafted in 2019, 2018. And so he's got years in front of him. This year, this 2022 season was an aberration. It was an outlier. It was an anomaly. And we need to be thinking that way constantly because we can't make rash decisions based on those injuries. Also, when you start thinking about what the Rams are going to do, will they be looking at a running back? And I think they should. They should look at another running back. I like Kyren Williams, but I think you're going to need some depth there. Malcolm Brown gave you some clicks, but I think Malcolm Brown's course is run. And then there's Cam Akers, of course, and loyal RamView follower Paul Kistler and some others have really kind of flipped their tune on Cam Akers. Cam Akers looked really good at the end of the season. Cam Akers looked like he did at the end of 2020, which is great. Awesome. Fine. That's great. But I'm not going to give any money to a running back. And the key thing you want to see here is, what is Las Vegas going to do with Josh Jacobs? Remember, they didn't extend him to a fifth year. So he's a free agent. Now, they have the ability to franchise tag him, but here's the danger. You franchise tag Josh Jacobs, that's 10,000. That's 10,000. That's 10 rocks. That's $10 million. His market value is 12.8 rocks per season. Can you really see the Rams, if Cam Akers has a fantastic 2023, giving anywhere near double digits and millions to Cam Akers? I wouldn't. So my belief is, yeah, draft a running back. I won't be disappointed if they draft a running back at 36. Run Cam Akers until he drops in 2023. Just pound him and pound him. Pound him and pound him. Make him the poor man's Todd Gurley. Give him 25 carries a game. Let him develop. Let him go out and get some big money someplace else, because you just don't give that second contract to a running back. You just don't. You got your best years out of that running back, unless they're really a Derrick Henry type. So it'll be interesting to see if the Raiders franchise tag Josh Jacobs. He actually makes $2 million less than his market value would be, because nobody values tight running backs anymore, right? So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I do like Kyren Williams, but I don't think Kyren Williams is a 20 carry a game back. I just don't. I think you get a lot of clicks out of him, and I think you can draft another back. So with that said, before we go to our break here to talk about sponsorships and all that kind of stuff, I wanted to look each day. You know, I'm planning to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday from now on. I'm hoping new set on Wednesday, but I want to do this each day. I want to look at the NFC West, because those are the opponents the Rams face the most, right? You play 6 games in the NFC West, and it's good to get an idea of what's going on. We're also going to take longer looks at the Raiders, longer looks at the Chargers during this time. And so we're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals, and the word buzzing around everywhere, unless someplace news is broke somewhere, nobody wants to work with Kyler Murray. Nobody, right? J.J. Watt has retired. We talked about this last year, that they were kind of assembling the over-the-hill gang in Arizona. Rodney Hudson, J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green. All these guys had significant mileage on them. Then Kyler Murray goes down, but they were struggling even when Kyler Murray was playing quarterback. Now Watt's retired. DeAndre Hopkins is going to make 30 rocks. That's $30 million in 2023 to have Colt McCoy throw him the ball, because Kyler Murray ain't playing. So you're going to pay 30 rocks to a receiver that's going to be turning 31 in September. Move him. You got to imagine they're going to move DeAndre Hopkins. Does he really want to waste another year in Arizona as his career now heads towards its twilight? He's over 30. He's on borrowed time. Carousel awaits. A.J. Green, who's been pretty much not the A.J. Green we grew up with. A.J. Green is a free agent. He's gone. James Conner is back, and he's only going to be 28, but James Conner has a lot of mileage. And James Conner is slated to make 10 rocks next year, $10 million. Budda Baker, a lot of mileage. He just turned 27, and they're paying him good money. Byron Murphy, the corner, was only 47, graded 47 out of 118 corners. Now, if you're a Ram fan, I'll take Byron Murphy for that. But he's a free agent. He's going to get more money probably someplace else. And so they're going to have to rebuild again at corner. DJ Humphries, left tackle, had a very average year. He graded 31 out of 84 left tackles. It's not abysmal, but when you're paying him 17 rocks a year and more than that over the next 3 years, he is not a bargain, and you're kind of stuck with him. Rodney Hudson turns 34 this May, and we've seen his snap counts decline. With the Raiders in 2020, Rodney Hudson, who's a fantastic center. Rodney Hudson had 1,082 snaps with the Raiders in 2020, only 798 with the Cardinals in 2021. And then last year, he only had 300 snaps in about 4 games. So the Cardinals got a lot of rebuilding to do. And so who's going to be the head coach? Who wants to take that on? You don't have a franchise quarterback, even though you're spending franchise quarterback money. What are you going to do, right? They do have some draft picks. They got the 3rd overall pick this year, 35th overall, 67. So they got some draft picks, 105th, 179th. Those are the picks they own. Plus they're in line for at least 3 compensatory picks because they lost Christian Kirk, Chandler Jones, and Chase Edmonds. Raider fans, how do you feel about Chandler Jones? Sidebar, right? How do you feel about him? Because you signed that guy, and I don't think Chandler Jones was a difference maker in Arizona, and I think that was a good move the Cardinals made when they decided not to keep Chandler Jones. Christian Kirk got that big contract in Jacksonville, and everyone thought that was crazy, and maybe it is still a little crazy, but Christian Kirk really developed quite a bit this year. But they're getting compensation picks for those guys. So they're going to have, 8 picks? 3 3 of them in the top 100. And so there is ability there, and they do have a new GM. So if I'm the Cardinals, I'm going to move DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm going to move Zach Ertz, who's going to be 33. Find a team that needs a tight end, not the Rams, because the Rams don't want to pay 10, 12 million bucks for a tight end. The outlook for the Cardinals, we'll keep up on this during the offseason, is no bueno. You do not want to be a Cardinal fan going forward. Okay, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is what I do. I host RamView, FanView. I love talking sports. I was a sports writer for 21 years, and as I saw the industry starting to fail, or go another direction, I began writing books. I've written several novels. And 2 high school football novels, Tangent Dreams and Temple City Company of the Ages. Personally, I find them more authentic and better than a Friday Night Lights. That's just me, but then again, I wrote them, right? I've also written several Christian novels, one dystopian one called Sin Virus, which did really well. You can check all those out on Amazon, and that's how I supplement my income, because my day job is I am a pastor of a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith. We have an online ministry called Burbank Faith Virtual, and you can find us there too and check us out and check out our messages. And if you want to support us, great. If you just want to attend, click on and hear a few messages. That would be awesome too. We are on Spotify with FanView, RamView, FanView, and you can check us out there on Spotify. Okay, did I do the spiel? Okay, we did the spiel. And if you're thinking of advertising and want a little local push, let me know. We'd be happy to dance. All right. Wanted to do some other stuff here besides football before we get back to Super Bowl and remembering a couple Rams on their birthday. But I got the news that the Dodgers are going to retire Fernando Valenzuela's number. I thought that was great. Fernando, of course, is one of my favorite players. To me, he is a Hall of Famer. I know he's not in the Hall of Fame, and that's always been the Dodgers standard. Excuse me. That's always been the Dodgers standard for Hall of Fame for retiring a number. But Fernando was exceptional. And I'll tell you this right now, Clayton Kershaw or Fernando, my life on the line, Fernando. There hasn't been a Dodger pitcher. I didn't see Sandy Koufax pitch, but in my lifetime, I became a Dodger fan late 73, followed them from start to finish in 74, and was a Dodger fan all the way through early 2015 until the Time Warner deal, and I broke it off because they denied me Vin Scully. But the pitcher that I would want with my life on the line, and that includes Orel Hershiser, the back half of 1988, would be if he's healthy Fernando Valenzuela. I just thought that was a guy that could win with great stuff, and that was a guy that could battle. When pitchers were allowed to battle, or pitchers had the mindset they were willing to battle, instead of going 5 innings and then looking for, okay, get me out of this game because I've had my quality start. So good for Fernando. I'm going to love that happens for him. Great Dodger, one of the greatest Dodgers of all time. And then the other thing came across about the Dodgers, and I'm a Mets fan, and I'll talk about the Mets, but I like the Mets lineup better than the Dodgers lineup right now. Is Gavin Lux really the guy at short for the Dodgers? I mean, yeah, 6 homers, 42 RBIs, 20 doubles, 7 triples last year, 346 OBP. No, he's not a bad player, but is this the year it all comes together for Lux? And that's the thing I'm interested in diehard Dodger fans to say, because in my mind, and I understand this, my mind goes, Corey Seager? Yeah, okay, I get Corey Seager. Trey Turner? Yeah, I understand. Yeah, Trey Turner, I totally get it. Gavin Lux? It sounds like something I put in my laundry, right? Honey, are we a little low on the Lux, right? Yeah, I dropped in some Gavin Lux, got it at Price Club the other day. I don't know. Gavin Lux, and I've been waiting for him. And so is this the year he breaks through? It'll be interesting to see. All right, college basketball. Loving watching USC. Love watching that team, Andy Enfield's team play. I'm a Boogie Ellis guy. A lot of fun. Purdue lost, which blew me away. I was stunned to see that Purdue lost to Indiana over the weekend. I thought that was interesting. I've been actually, because I'm doing RamView, FanView now, I've actually been watching some NBA basketball, and wow, NBA basketball never fails to amaze me, right? I thought the Cleveland-Memphis game was so entertaining, and I don't get entertained by NBA basketball. But what made me laugh, I'm sorry, it does make me laugh because I'm not cynical and I'm not one of those let's keep it real guys, but I do have that I question everything. I don't like history months. I don't like Black History Month. I don't like Gay History Month. I don't like Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I don't like months. I was at Dodger Stadium for a game and they were celebrating Nicaraguan Pride Night. As if you're Guatemalan, you're not celebrated. Honduran, you're not celebrated, but strictly Nicaraguan night. And you have to know that when they have all these nights, they don't care. They're just trying to score points. They don't care about Pride Night. They don't care about Black history. I don't believe that at all for an instant about any of these corporations, right? You incorporate all into American history because it is all our history. Let me tell you something. Jackie Robinson made a lot of white people better people. Read Bobby Bragan's story, okay? It wasn't just he had one effect on one section of the population. He had an effect on everybody in America, and we should be celebrating that 12 months out of the year instead of, as Morgan Freeman said, you're going to contain my history to just 28 days, 29 every 4 years. So as I was listening to this, and they're always trying to score points, I was watching the Memphis Cavalier game and Cleveland game, and there was this thing that Richie Miller broke off on about Memphis is preparing the Memphis franchise, its response to the tragedy that happens. And it was awful. It was terrible. It was evil what those officers did to that man. I'm not saying that, but that somehow the NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies are responsible to do something about it, right? Do you know what the Memphis Grizzlies' responsibility to their community is? Play good basketball. Sign and keep players that are good citizens. Go visit sick kids on the 4th floor at Children's Hospital. I don't know what floor this is in Memphis, but in LA, 4th floor is the cancer ward, or it used to be the cancer ward at Children's Hospital. I've been on that ward, and you need to go visit those kids. You need to go say positive things. But you don't need to have a photo shoot next to a prostitutional, and they're all prostitutes, local politician trying to score virtue points, saying we're going to come out and do this for the community, and we're going to do this for the community. I am very uninspired by community leaders that need NBA players, NFL players to stand next to them, and you shouldn't be used that way. The Memphis Grizzlies should be about basketball and be about, being kind to their community, being good citizens in their community, but they don't have to come up with a response or a protest or a statement about what's going on. Just play basketball. Kyrie Irving to Dallas. He's really going to play with Luka. I like watching Luka, but Luka Doncic, he likes to have the ball a lot, right? I mean, it can get really boring watching Luka Doncic sometimes. He's fun in the sense that he's so talented, but boy, everyone else on that team's an afterthought. And I'm kind of curious, is Kyrie Irving going to be an afterthought playing with Dallas? Steph Curry out indefinitely. MRI came back. Age is catching up with the dude. Sorry to see that. He's fun to watch. But that really puts Golden State, who's kind of hovering in that 24 and 26 record, 26 and 24 record. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And I'll say this because it's probably going to happen this week. LeBron James is going to become scoring king in NFL history. I'll say it. LeBron James is a great, great player. Greatest player of this generation. He's just not the greatest of all time, right? In the last 3 minutes of a game, this is how I'll decide who the greatest is. In the last 3 minutes of the game, I'm going to go with Jordan. I'm going to go with Magic. I'm going to go with Bird. I'm going to go with Kareem. I'm going to go with Kobe. Heck, I'm going to go with Bernard King. I have a real hard time watching the Knicks play and see Julius Randle wear number 30 because, I saw Bernard King play in college. I saw Bernard King play in the NFL. Believe me, Julius Randle, you are no Bernard King. But Bernard King was a killer. Kobe was a killer. LeBron's not a killer. LeBron's a really good player, and you don't trust him at the line, do you? You just don't trust him. And if you're going to be the GOAT, you got to knock him down in the pressure cooker, as Chick Hearn used to say. So I don't have any ill will towards LeBron. He can say what he wants, do what he wants, be as political as he wants, I guess. But I just don't see him as the GOAT. I just don't. I think he's been in great health. He's been training great. He works hard. He's a hard worker. You see him fill the lane on fast breaks and everything. He's a true professional, right? But he's also been blessed to play in a softer and fundamentally flawed NBA. He just has. That's it. He's just been able to play in that league. This league, you touch him physically, that he is not touched. He is never touched. And in the more physical NBA of earlier years, he'd have been knocked on his can quite a bit and challenged. And that hasn't happened. And that keeps you healthy and that keeps you going. So congratulations to him. He will be the all-time scoring champ, but he's nowhere near the GOAT. He's nowhere near, to me, in my opinion, Jordan, Magic, Kareem, Kobe, Bird, to an extent, if Bird's healthy, right? And I'm a Bernard King guy anyway. But congratulations to him. And I just wanted to ask a question real quick before I leave the NBA. How would the 1986 Celtics do against the 2022 Golden State Warriors? That was something that came up the other day. I was talking to somebody. Is if you remember Dennis Johnson, right? Big physical guard, great defender. I really think he'd give fits to Steph. Also, I think the Celtics would knock down some of these guys a few times, and it wouldn't be these free runs to the basket. I think it would be very physical, right? And then the other question is, who would stop McHale and Parrish in the blocks? And I haven't even brought up Bill Walton coming in as the sixth man of the 86 Celtics, or Larry Bird himself, right? Who is Draymond Green going to stop, Kevin McHale in the blocks? Yeah, the Warriors would hit threes, but they're not going to hit a three on every trip. The Celtics would be guaranteed to convert a bucket on every possession because there's this empty donut in the middle in the current NBA. There's no one with the mentality to really defend on the inside or the ability to stop some of these guys. And I would give the nod. I know people think I'm crazy on the get off my lawn, you old man. But it's just bad basketball nowadays, fundamentally flawed. And anybody with basic fundamentals is going to excel in the league. And, if you got a little physical, you'd excel even more. My top 5 in basketball, not teams, but players and teams. Jalen Brunson. Man, give me Jalen Brunson. I will watch Jalen Brunson play all day. The Cleveland Cavaliers are fun to watch. I love watching the Cleveland Cavaliers. Coming in at number 3 for me, Boogie Ellis of USC. Have you seen Boogie? I mean, he boogies in the bedroom, he boogies in the hall, right? I love Boogie Ellis for USC. He's fun to watch. Jose Alvarado of the Pelicans. I could watch him all day. I thought he was great on Saturday for the Pelicans against the Lakers, which is a game the Lakers should have won. And Mikal Bridges of the Suns. Mikal Bridges, just love to watch his game. He's a glue guy. Love to watch him, which I thought it was interesting as you look at Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges, both playing the NBA, but both played at Villanova and won titles at Villanova. Okay, as we come down to the end here, looking at the Super Bowl, I'm not done. I am leaning Eagles right now. The offensive line injuries killed the Chiefs in their Super Bowl loss to the Buccaneers. But their only real weak spot this coming Sunday is right tackle Andrew Wiley. On the Eagles side, they are exceptional across the offensive line. And across the board, their lowest ranked offensive lineman, according to PFF, is Landon Dickerson, the former Alabama guy. And he hurt his elbow in the title game in the NFC, but he's expected to play at left guard. Dickerson runs 6'6", 332, right? I actually looked at the old Rams stuff, and I think there was a season or two there where Joe Schiavelli for the Rams played guard at 6'1", 240. I mean, can you imagine? And now Landon Dickerson plays at 6'6", 332. And Dickerson was just awful this year. Out of the 78 guards graded by the NFL, Dickerson was number 16 out of 78. And he's the lowest ranked offensive lineman for the starting offensive lineman for the Eagles. Translation, he's very good. The Eagles are very good. And that means Chris Jones, the KC interior guy, is not only going to have to deal with Dickerson, but also Jason Kelce at center. And that's going to be brutal, right? Can you imagine Chris Jones trying to work past Hall of Famer Jason Kelce and an ascending left guard in Landon Dickerson? So that could be tough. For the Chiefs themselves, on offensive line, Wiley Andrew Wiley, the lowest rated tackle, offensive lineman for the Chiefs. I think he comes in at 63 out of 84 tackles, someplace in there. He's going to be across Hassan Reddick, who is absolutely on fire. Another former Cardinal, right? He's on fire. And on the inside of Hassan Reddick is Fletcher Cox, a grizzled veteran. So that's going to be tough for the Chiefs. The left side of the line should be able to battle the Eagles to a draw, but that right side of the line with Wiley going against Hassan Reddick and Fletcher Cox, that could be tough. And I just think this is going to be the first game that I'm going to notice. Maybe you're going to notice it. Maybe you've been noticing it all year if you're a Chief fan. I think this is the game KC feels for the first time the absence of Tyreek Hill, because they've got some good receivers. MVS, Valdez Scantling is good. Juju Schuster is good. But we know Tyreek Hill's at another level. And these other guys, these guys can be guarded one-on-one, right? And because they're going to need to, because I don't think Travis Kelce, Jason's brother, is going to see anything less than double coverage. And if he's not double covered the whole time, then someone on the Eagles coaching staff should be fired. So we're going to talk more about this, and I'll probably change my mind because it's hard not to change your mind when you're talking about Pat Mahomes. But yeah, today on Monday, I am leaning towards the Eagles on Monday.
It was a stone groove, my man.
And that is my cue here, that as it's a stone groove, I have to get out. I've exceeded 30 minutes, my new long form format. Anyone who's clicking on, I guess I have a couple of listeners right now. Thank you so much for clicking on. If you want to leave a comment, leave a like, ask a question, I'll be happy to ask that question as now and as we go forward. All right. Love talking Ram football. Love talking sports. I'm Joe Tarosian, and this has been RamView, FanView. Talk to you soon.